What's really good, y'all? How you doing? This is Queen Sereda, your host from naturallyhighlife.com. On Instagram, I'm Queen_Sereda. I see some of you all been following me and checking me out on Instagram and just online in general. Yeah, so I have an online presence. I've been online for at least 10 years or more. It's been quite a while. And I've been putting out videos ever since it's been at least 8 years, or 2014, or I don't know. But I have a video to talk to you all about Mercury retrograde. And so since I wanted to talk to you about Mercury retrograde, I do have these cards here that I pulled to represent the energy of what it feels like for many people to deal with a season of Mercury retrograde, which is roughly about something that comes 3 to 4 times per year. And what effect it has, it's something that people have been charting and watching and paying attention to for eons. So it's something that people have learned to write down and to record, and they'll notice certain patterns that happen for them. Certain other people have a different opinion about it, but we'll talk about that another time. But since I like to talk about the astrological transits, because I am an astrology enthusiast, as you may know, you see videos here that I come with that have to do with moon manifesting and working with the moon, because each and every month there's certain cycles that happen celestially. And our ancestors, my ancestors as African people from Kemet, they did use certain methods where they used the stars to chart how far they were away from this, from that. They learned when the seasons were. They had a calendar, and they were very advanced. So because I know a part of my life path is to continue the work of my ancestors, I use astrology in that. And let me fix my camera. So that's why I use astrology also. And I've always been an enthusiast of astrology from all my life, even if it was reading zodiacs and stuff like that. And just wanting the desire to know. So when you have this Mercury retrograde energy, you have an energy that wants to know. It wants the answers to something. It wants answers to be really aggressively answered. And so with Mercury retrograde, it has a pre-shadow period, and people call it a pre-shadow because it's when you start to feel the energy. You kind of feel the energy kind of slow down a bit for the thing that is the planet Mercury. You'll feel that planet's energy pulling in a different direction than you normally do. And Mercury, the planet Mercury generally, it is known to rule certain signs of the zodiac. Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. It happens to be a sign that has to do with communication. And officially the Mercury retrograde pre-shadow period is March the 8th, but it's going to be March 8th and 9th, depending on where you are in the world. Officially, retrogrades on the pretty much midnight, around midnight, at 12:19 a.m., and that's the Universal Standard Time. March 23rd, 2018 in Aries at the 16th degree. And March 22nd, it's also going to be at 7:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mercury will be direct. It's going to be going direct that date. So pretty much, like I said, the actual Mercury retrograde period and time frame is March the 23rd and 22nd. One of those days for you, depending on where you are in the world. And then it's going to be direct on April 15th at 9:21 a.m. Universal Standard Time in Aries at the 4th degree. Very prominent. We have these cards here that I did pull out. One of them is moving on. The other one has to do with movement, choices, and decisions, and then the crown chakra. So we'll talk about that in regard to this reading in just a minute. Now, Mercury's not going to go retrograde again until July this year. So Right now, we're going to be feeling this energy, perhaps, and it's a time where you use a Mercury retrograde 3-week period of time is about how long that is. So 3 to 4 times a year, but the time frame it is about 3 weeks in general. So that's when it is, but people feel it before and then they'll feel it after. And it really is about rechecking things, details, redoing things, reconsidering things, reflecting on things, ideas, concepts, inspirations, going back, checking details. It has to do with transportation, even delays with transportation, communication, with getting to the facts, the details. And when I said getting to the facts, that came out, that's not even on my paper, on my list, but I can see why intuitively that's coming through, getting to the facts, because you may be feeling delayed with a bunch of extra stuff, extra people wanting to talk more, longer, more time taken, more skeptical, that sort of thing. So it may take you longer to make a sale. It may take you longer to get a job done because of communication issues, people coming at the last minute when you're ready to get off work and then asking you 1,000 questions and then not buying anything anyway or whatever. Shortcuts, people wanting to, during Mercury retrograde, you may see people that want to take shortcuts, but it's not always advised to do that because it is the fastest planet that's moving in the sky, this Mercury. And because it is, when it's going backwards, so to speak, then you may make fast decisions and you may not check the details, and then you may make some mistakes that you aren't able to immediately fix. Mistakes happen, but because it'll still be going backwards, so to speak, you may not be able to fix that problem right away. So during this time, it is said not to purchase electronics. Like, really don't even do it anywhere around Mercury retrograde. I have seen the patterns myself, I can't lie. Of people with the communication issues, just a little bit extra work you have to do. People just really not it's not the easiest time to do certain things. And not everybody experiences this, it's said. We'll talk about why that is in a few. But those shortcuts that people try to take are ill-advised at this time. Incorrect assumptions, people jump into conclusions because Mercury is so fast, the brain is still going to be moving fast, but moving fast on maybe the wrong information or incorrect information, half information, misinformation. Check your facts before moving forward and making decisions. This person has several windows that are open here. Several windows that are open, and there's a decision that needs to be made. A flower is here, green. We have blue clouds here. We have also got some rings. We've got some money there, and then just orange. So this has to do with something with the chakras, and just having the right energy before being able to make the right choice, decision, and movement. And Mercury retrograde is like one of those right times when you're able to really step back and do that reflection that is necessary to do before you make a rash decision. These don't look like small decisions here that are being made. Then you have the number 2 of duality, and that is the 2 of wands, because the outside border of this card's red. This one has to do with wands, energy. So fast movement, decisions, ill-advised, because you want to use your intuition, but you may be thinking that intuitively or, somewhat, your energy is kind of being, you're not doing what you should do. And maybe you feel like you are relying too much on your intuition at this time. But it's saying 2, it's a waiting time. 2 is usually more about waiting. So it's saying to wait and use your intuition and listen to your crown. Listen through the crown chakra at this time, which is at the top. And you're, in the head area, in the head region. It's not by your feet, so it doesn't have to do with movement. It has to do with being still, But before moving on, do this first before moving on. Because this will help you avoid the confusion. It'll help you avoid the challenges, and it'll help you not be slowed down and delayed. If you wait till the right season. Here, the leaves turning from brown to green, the right season. For some of you, you are changing courses because springtime is right here. You've been doing a whole lot of thinking about it because this card has to do with the mind. It's the Six of Wands. So there's time associated with this. And leaving a difficult time, which you are, but it's the right season. So right now, plan. This person looks like they have something small in their hand. Let's look. They have a globe in their hand. They have their world in their hand. But instead of looking at what's in front of them, they're looking at their own world. So their perception is what's going to get them through making the decision here, making the choice, and beginning to make that movement. And getting their energy right, first and foremost, with this red border on the outside of the card is paramount. The energy has to be right. One thing that I've been doing for my person, for me, is because I already know I am very laid back and I am very energetic and everything, but I really just like to do things my own way. And because I have that eccentric way of wanting to do stuff, you know, you got to worry about your health. You got to have certain routines in place, no matter what type of personality you are. If you're extra creative, like I am, you know, I'm into art. I'm working on a deck right now for a Oracle tarot deck. And all this stuff requires some type of willpower, no matter how many different angels that you believe are out there, feel are supporting you, your ancestors. You have to use your willpower. And being assertive is a part of it. So you have the side of the hermit, but then you have the assertiveness that's necessary when you get to a card like, say, for instance, the Chariot. You know, it's time to go forth. We'll talk about the tarot deck in a few. But the one thing that I see here that's important is this is dealing with the everyday life. It's not really dealing with a major thing right now. So I feel like it's going to be a smooth sailing on the Mercury retrograde for you all listening. However, it is telling you that using the intuition before taking complete action and making a complete overhaul is going to be paramount. Like I said, when I want to get myself moving, I wanted to tell you that there are certain things that I have to do now. One thing that I do is this: I clap. Sorry if that's loud in your ear, but literally for maybe a few minutes, 5 minutes sometimes, put on some drums and get my energy right. The other thing that I'll do is I will do some apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons, 3 times a day. Chase it with some water because it'll, you don't want your stomach to get all irritated. But definitely just drink it with some water. And I'm talking about the Bragg's specifically of the apple cider vinegar out of the store, the one that's fermented. And yes, it's got a strong taste, but I'm telling you right now, the reason I'm doing this video right now, even though I feel like writing more plans, more notes, more lesson plans, because really all I want to do is be the messenger. That's why you all don't see me right now, because I be doing makeovers all the time. I've got my hair on fleek, my nails, but it's not about me, and this is never going to be about me. But what we know, or what we've come to be experienced with and are passionate about, the passion here, it is up to us to put it out. And this card's talking about making a choice, decision, and movement about a passion. And you cannot make that decision unless you have your energy half the time together. You got to have that part straight. So energy, intuition before moving on the concept and idea you have in mind. That you actually know is is something from the past that you know you are supposed to do. This 6 has to do with something from the past that you are like, I know I'm supposed to do this. And I know that about tarot and esoteric stuff, the metaphysics, knowing that I'm alchemist and the one that creates my own experience. I attracted the love in my life that I have. I attracted the family situation that I have. I've attracted just everything. And when we come to realize how much power we do have, we're able to leave the challenges in the past to move on to the present. Because I've noticed so often people will say, you know, and I'm talking about the Mercury retrograde energy, people will say they want to have this happy life, but they don't realize they have an addiction to living in either fear. I know about that. Living in worry, living in guilt, living in I'm not enough, I'll never be enough. And it takes time to move through that. And you still, when you make the decision to make this thing something serious that you're wanting to do on a regular basis, people are going to still look at you like you are crazy and you don't have your shit together. They're going to think that you are crazy, and they're going to talk about you, laugh about you in your face. Sometimes they'll laugh and they don't realize that the craziness that you are going through is a part of the process. Out of chaos comes order. What don't we get about that? Even when I'm making a video myself, and I'm going to show you all behind the scenes of how I do these videos, how I have this set up, what is holding up this stuff here for me to do this video. And you'd be very surprised. We have to get to a point, and I had to get to a point where I just said, forget it. You know, if I wait until everything is completely perfect, I will never get anything done. It doesn't matter what it is. If you go back on people's old videos and stuff, you'll see that there was growth, there was expansion, there was a moving on from the past. Finally, they got the energy. The energy is not that high with the number 2 of Wands card. That's why you're waiting and wavering, because the number 2 is more so about choosing, making a choice. And that choice still requires some sort of energy to do. But intuitively, it's telling you, don't just go off of what you've seen, but pair that with your intuition before you make your final decision. So I'm going to let you all go. I've got some other videos that I want to come out that I have right after this. And pretty much I'm just going to be, like I said, coming out with the videos because it's not about being perfect with this Mercury retrograde energy. It's not about being perfect starting off with the spring equinox. It's not about being perfect in this life, because if you know that you are the creator of your own experience and that we are already we're in the universe, we're already a part of it. We are what is helping to create it. We're co-creators. This video right now is creating something for someone, something you did today, something that someone else is doing tomorrow is going to be creating and adding to somebody's actual life experience. We're actually helping each other create. And then there is that omnipresent energy that is literally the veil or the net for everything. And so I thank Spirit, and it works with this earth energy, and it's like married, and it's a beautiful thing. So we'll talk more about that. We'll talk more about the universal laws. We're going to be talking about next the hero's journey next, because I want to talk to you all about the different stages of life, and that the fool's journey is not just some cards, but it's a whole lot more than just that. And that's why some of you are so drawn to it, because if you understand that and you go through it, then that is a very, very strong spiritual lesson. And we're all going to go through it in some way or fashion, some way. And you can go through it consciously or unconsciously. But once you know about it and that it exists, and we have these beautiful cards here, and you all know I'm coming out with mine as well. When you know you have this, then you can use it as a tool in this life. It's like getting the cheat codes to life. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the tarot deck, and we're going to be practically bringing it all together with even life coaching, y'all. All right? Peace. Love y'all. This is Queen Sereda signing out. Do leave a comment. Thank you.